Hi, my name is Lucius Donkle III. My family name is Dunk, but I often go by Lou. And I'm sitting here in Butamore, Wisconsin, in Plummer Cemetery, which is the resting place of the two ancestors that started my family line here in the United States, as well as the family line of my cousins, the Bakers and the Weatherbys. So I just finished a historical walking tour of this cemetery put on by the Butamore Historical Society. This brochure has all the family information that I'll summarize right here, but this information is easy to find in more detail if you look. But the immigrant love story is two immigrants came here from Norway and from Germany, fell in love, got married, and gave birth to Francis Donkle, who married Dr. Lucius Donkle I, who gave birth to Lucius Donkle Jr., my father, Donna Donkle, who married John Baker, and Lorraine Donkle, who married George Baker. So this is the Peterson family plot where Peter Cornelius Peterson is buried, and this is the Bogk family plot where Bertha Bogk's parents are buried, and Bertha is buried in this family plot because she married Peter Cornelius. So the Petersons, Peter Peterson lived right next door to the Bogk Tavern. Turns out Frederick Bogk, Bertha's father, came here as a brewer, and he established German brewing style here in Butamore and was quite successful at it. He brought the cold temperature fermentation process, relatively unknown in the United States, where brewing was done mostly to make ale at warm temperature fermentation. So Frederick Bogk immigrated from Germany with his daughter Bertha. Bertha was born in Germany, and when Peter Peterson bought the Gringen trading post here in Butamore and turned it into a general store and lived in the upper floors of it. So they fell in love and gave birth to Francis Donkle, who married the doctor, like I said. And there you got the Donkle line, the Baker line, and the Weatherby line. The immigrant love story between Peter Peterson from Norway and Bertha Bogk from Germany continues right here in downtown Butamore. This is the trading post that Peter Peterson bought from Augustin Gringen that was then operated as the Gringen Hotel when he got here from Norway. And right across the street is where Frederick Bogk built his brewery. This is Frederick Bogk, who had the daughter Bertha Bogk that married Peter Peterson. So you wonder how they got together. There's your answer, right? If they were neighbors. And as a reminder, Frederick Bogk brought German-style brewing, cold temperature fermentation brewing to the Americas, and he did it right here. And he was able to do it because he figured out he could dig a cave into the hillside where there'd be permanently cold temperatures that would be easy to access. And then in the winter, he could easily load ice up from the river and stock the cave with ice. And he created the low temperature environment for making German-style beer right here in the Americas, in Butamore. They bought a house back there that had a boat dock on it. And in that boat dock, they kept a wooden boat. So that summer cottage is where Lucius Donkle Jr., Donna Donkle, and Lorraine Donkle were all spent their whole summer, along with Francis and Dr. Donkle would come up on weekends to visit. A very interesting sideline to this Donkle boathouse and boat that I've learned, as well as the history of the brewery and beer drinking in Butamore, all takes place right at this intersection, just the next street up. Here we have Jimmy's White House Inn. We have Fred Bogk's Tavern, Joe Bogk's Tavern. We have two empty lots here and here, both of which had taverns. So Butimore turns out to have been an enormous drinking place, not only in the 30s when Lou, Donna, and Lorraine were all spending their summers here, but also during the 20s. Turns out one of the Bogk brothers, or maybe other ones, were moonshining here and wound up in jail and prison a couple of times. But the most interesting story is that the family boat, the Elknod, that Lucius Donkle Jr. had control of during the summer, was used to shuttle customers from a downriver in Oshkosh up to the tavern and then back again. So the boathouse, the Donkle boathouse, was over there. It'd offload at the public dock here. They'd walk up the street here and drink till they couldn't stand anymore. Then at the end of the night, when the brawling was done, back to the boat they'd go. And apparently my father was, the underage, the sub-21 teenager who had control of the boat and was doing a taxi service between Butimore and Oshkosh. Isn't that amazing? Jimmy's White House Inn has great notoriety in our family. My dad always talked about it. It's Jimmy's White House Inn. Today you see it's just the White House Inn. But Jimmy Contos owned it. Jimmy Contos was George Contos's father. George Contos is the guy that palled around with Dad. They were 1 year apart, and they were the best of pals all summer long, every year for a decade. After Dad graduated from college, he never really came back to Butimore on a regular basis. But George Contos stayed here and made a considerable development just to the west of the city, which has created a huge source of residents and tax revenue that has kept Butimore as a viable, vibrant city, pretty much in a very rural, otherwise very rural area. There's the Peterson and the Bogk family plots located at Plummer Cemetery, which is located about halfway between Oshkosh and Butimore. And Riverside Cemetery is located just on the north edge of Oshkosh, about 5 miles down that road. And Butimore is located about 3 miles up that road. Here at the Peterson family plot at Plummer Cemetery, there's 4 graves. First one, of course, is Peter Cornelius Peterson, born in Kristiansand, Norway in 1829. And his wife is Bertha Bogk Peterson Bo. She married John Bo later. She was born in Rossla, Germany in 1853. And they gave birth to Francis, my grandmother, but also Percival Charles Peterson, Uncle Charlie as I knew him. And lastly, Bertha married John Bo after Peter Peterson died. And he ran the family store for almost as long as Peter Cornelius did. Here at the Frederick Bogk family plot, there are 6 graves altogether. The mother and father are over on the right. Other children of theirs and spouses are included at the same family plot as well. It's really hard to read, but this is in memory of Frederick Bogk. And on the other side, it's in memory of Fredrika Baccarat Bogk. So here you got the Bogk family plot right next to the Peterson family plot in Plummer Cemetery in Butimore, Wisconsin.